everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you ever found yourself stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk, constantly doubting your abilities or feeling like you're not good enough, then you're not alone. Today, I'm diving into a topic that affects so many of us, the inner critic. The inner critic is that internal voice, that harsh judge inside our heads that critics, undermines, and often paralyzes our confidence. It can make us feel we are never enough, always falling short. But where does this voice come from? Let's break it down. First up is the early childhood experience. Our inner critic often trace back to our early years. Let's start with a critical parenting. If you ever had a parent or a caregiver who was overly critical or set impossibly high expectations, you may have internalized those judgments as a measure of your self-worth. And it's not just about the criticism. Emotional neglect. When a child doesn't receive enough positive reinforcement or validation, it can contribute to this internalized voice of judgment and connecting those higher expectations set by the parent as the standard of their self-worth. Without feeling supported, the child may start to seek approval by harshly monitoring themselves. Trauma or abuse can leave a deep emotional scar, reinforcing that self-critical patterns. If you ever experience shame or blame, that voice of self-judgment can become louder over time. Now let's talk about social conditioning. We live in a world full of cultural norms that emphasizes perfectionism and competition. These societal practices can amplify that inner voice, making us feel like we're constantly falling short. Peer influence also play a role. Negative feedback or bullying from others can plant that seed of self-doubt. And in today's world, social media doesn't help us much either. Constant exposure to perfect lives and bodies can make us feel inadequate, no matter how unrealistic those images really are. Believe it or not, our inner critic might have evolutionary roots. In the past, survival often depended on social cohesion, being a part of the group. Yeah, inner critic may have evolved as a way to keep us in line with the group norms, avoiding rejection, which could be dangerous. Let us talk about the cognitive pattern, which I have spoken in many of my other videos as well. You can check it out in my YouTube channel, Breathe Thrive with Devi. What I mean by our cognitive patterns are thinking habits. Negative thought loops like constant self-doubt can create neural pathway that make self-criticism as an automatic, almost like a habit. Imposter syndrome is another big one. It's that you're feeling that you are a fraud and that you don't deserve the success. And this is fueled by the mixture of factors, and this fuels our inner critic, keeping us stuck in a cycle of insecurity. And perfectionism, believing that you must be flawless to be accepted, creates that relentless inner dialogue that keeps you striving for something unattainable. Sometimes unresolved emotional wounds from the past failures, rejection, or embarrassment can fuel that harsh inner voice. It's like a proactive mechanism that tries to prevent us from experiencing the pain again, but often ends up making us feel worse. Biological factors also play a huge role. When we are stressed up, our brain's fear center, that the amygdala, becomes more active and inner critic become more louder. Plus, the neurotransmitter imbalances like low serotonin and dopamine levels can amplify this negative thinking pattern, making it harder to break free from the inner dialogue. So where does this inner critic come from? It is a complex mix of early childhood experience, social influences, cognitive habits with a thinking pattern, and even the biological factors like fear center, the neurotransmitter imbalances. The good news is we can change the way we interact with that inner critic. By understanding where it comes from, we can start to challenge it and replace those negative thought loops with more empowering thoughts. Now that you have better understanding about what our inner critic is and where it comes from, in my next video, I'm going to talk about how you can recognize your inner critic when it is showing up and how to spot the signs of self-attack, which self-sabotages you. Knowing how to identify these patterns is the first step to quieten that voice and reclaim your confidence. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell and join me for that deep dive. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and share it with someone who might need to hear this today. And as always, feel free to drop your thoughts or questions in the comments box below, and I love to hear from you. Until my next video, stay curious, stay healthy. Signing off, Devi Sundar.